So what happened with that? Because to be honest, you guys were up on. He had you up on the cage. You had a triangle sunk in. He looked like he was out. He was out, and that's why you guys fell, I think, right?
Yeah, and pretty much the officials, when they saw me hit my head, they had a great concern for me, and in that haste, a lot of details were overlooked, and
details like the fact that he was unconscious.
Yeah, and by mistake, he was declared the winner, and so that was that.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think that's okay, but I guess my question is, were you knocked out as well?
My bell was really well rung. I could see the referee running over and so forth, but there was a slight, momentary paralysis pretty much in my body, and I couldn't
respond,
move right away. But I can see everything that was going on though, so it was kind of a very unique experience that way.
Yeah, and I think the odd thing is that for whatever reason, I mean, both you guys really weren't doing much at that particular point,
stunned.
Right?
But the reason people we talk about it still, and people still bring it up, and people asked online us to ask, is because it was one of those mind-blowing moments in sports. When two great athletes literally knocked each other unconscious. But I think most people agree that the fact that you had him unconscious first before you hit your head means that you won. But it's just one of those things,
Yeah. No, I don't sweat it. I don't look back at that kind of stuff and think, what if?
Yeah.
I really just look at my whole career as a whole and say, what, you had an awesome career, and you're actually quite fortunate to actually still be in the game too. So, I'm quite happy.
For a guy as laid back as you are, how do you suddenly, what happens backstage to make you come out and want to kill people? Because you seem pretty mellow.
I'm just good at what I do in general, and I take it one step at a time. I guess you can say I have pretty good control of myself, and I can turn it on and off when I need to.
That's cool. And so, I mean, I certainly hope that you're nowhere near the end of your career, because I've been a huge fan right from the very beginning, and I've seen you in some awesome fights. I've seen great footage of the ones that that you end up seeing on YouTube, and of course all the ones in the UFC and everything else. And I think the expectation is from a fan base is that we'd really love to see you. You go to this fight, you do great,
win a couple for W1, and then go back in the UFC.
Yeah, and kick some ass.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. Just I'm gonna go out there, take my time, and knock off each win, at a time, and just make sure I'm ready each time. It's for me, it's a real challenge to be back at 170, and it's not an easy feat, and takes a lot of consistent training and a real dedicated lifestyle to that side of things, and with that, you're going to see results. So I just, again, one step at a time.
If everything goes right and you weigh in at 170 or 170.5, how big can you get by fight time? Can you be 187, 188 by fight time, do you think?
Yeah, some guys are. I'll be mid-80s.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then now, hardcore fans, especially Canadian ones, will know who Nabil Khatib is. I've seen Nabil fight, and he's a great fighter, and I've met him, and he's a really great guy. What kind of challenges does he present for you? How are you approaching him?
I'm looking forward, to Nabil, bringing a great stand-up game. And again, he's going to be very savvy, and he's going to probably have a very slick approach to the whole first round, and after that, he's going to try and see how it's going, and if it's going well for him, he's going to look and make his move. If not, he's going to try and hang in there and try and weather the storm.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually familiar with Nabil
the Thrill.
So yeah, is he more of a jiu-jitsu guy?
He's actually a traditional jiu-jitsu guy turned Brazilian jiu-jitsu turned MMA, and he's really tough. He's really resilient. And he's a little older. He's close to 40, I think. But he's a tough guy who's had tough fights, and he's fought his way through. This is the toughest fight he's ever had, for sure. And Carlos will probably come in and give him a handful. But have you met him, Carlos? Do you know him?
Yep. I know Nabil very, very well. He's a great guy, and he's one of the nicest guys to be around.
Yeah,
he also has a great facility out in Ottawa, and if any guys out in Ottawa need somewhere to go train, I would recommend Nabil.
Yeah, he's super well respected by everybody that I've ever spoken to about him. But so, what is that for you when you? I think this is something people would be real curious about. Is when you go in to get ready to fight a guy who you're friends with, you know, that you respect and you like, and you'd like to have a beer with after. What is that? How do you prepare for that in the days before and the hours before the fight?
Yeah, for me, it's just you know, I can turn it on and off, but I've been doing it for so long that I don't really think about it anymore. Just the minute the bell rings, I know this guy's going 100 miles an hour, so I gotta go 101. That's all I know.
Yeah, what's your favorite fight of all time for your own experience? What's that you were in?
I'll say probably one of my most memorable fights, I'll have to say, is against Pelé.
Oh yeah.
Or Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
Very memorable fights.
And what was the standout about those fights?
You know, Dan Henderson, superb fighter, superb athlete, and he's just one of those guys. You fight him, he brings so much gameness to the contest that you either have to ante up, go where you've never been before, or you know what, just go home.
Yeah, because he will keep coming, so you have to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't make it a two-way conversation, and he just brings it. So he brings out the best in you.
Cool.
And the Pelé fight was just a lot of psychology in that fight, and that's probably why I remember it most. The psychology leading up to the fight, the psychology in the fight, and it played a big part in things, and for that reason, it was it's a pretty memorable fight because I remember so much about it before the actual fight.
You've had 26 fights. I've had 3 fights. And I remember, I think I do, every single moment of every minute of those 3 fights, like they were all in slow motion. Do you remember 26 fights even years later? Do you remember every minute of them?
Yeah, I remember all my fights very well.
Yeah. It's a wild little photograph in time, eh?
Yeah. No, it's, for me, I do remember little details, and I'm the type of person that after a fight too, I do reflect on it, quite a bit. So that does help it stick in my memory. So,
does it ever occur to you when you're, when you pause and say when you thought about coming back to fight now for W1? To think, I was the first Canadian UFC champion. I fought some of the greatest fighters in the world. All these experiences, do you stop sometimes and take pride in that? Like, do you stop and say, I've done things that most human beings could never do?
If I did that, that's probably just recently.
Yeah.
I started doing that. Yeah.
This is going to sound weird, man, but we went online and we've, you and I have lots of friends in common, like the matchmaker at W1, Alex, and these guys, and a number of people in the Canadian fight game told me to ask you if it's true that you have a gigantic penis, and they weren't kidding. And Alex asked me to ask you if it's true that they made a Japanese comic book out of your penis. Is any of this true? Does any of this ring a bell to you?
Yeah, there's some things are ringing a bell, but I usually, I just shy away from that stuff.
You shy? Listen, we had Joe Dirksen.
Who want to know, find out for themselves.
No, but here's the reason why the question comes up. It's because Joe Dirksen announced that he has small junk.
Yeah.
Then Sean Quinn announced that he had small junk. Robin declares that he doesn't, but Robin's like 5'8", 5'6".
5'6".
So and he's not a big guy. So let's just say he's not the biggest guy in the world. And then so now we hear the rumor about a fighter that actually might be equipped, and so we just wanted to be able to confirm or deny.
For those who want to know, they can confirm it.
So we should get a lineup of girls in Gatineau.
Maybe Chris Horodecki can provide some of the girls from his strip bar experience.
That's right. Chris Horodecki was just telling us about a really bad strip club experience in Orange County, California.